My story starts 2 weeks before St. Nicholas Day, which, where I grew up in the Midwest, was a small but wholesome holiday. You wake up, open a stocking, maybe find candy or a small gift. Nothing huge, but it's sentimental. My ex, Emily, used to make a huge deal out of it. She'd leave these handwritten notes, inside jokes, little scavenger hunts. My new girlfriend, Sarah, didn't seem like the sentimental type. She was warm, sure, but not overly sappy, no grand gestures, no poetic texts, not even a particularly emotional approach to holidays. She liked things simple. That's part of why I liked her. After what happened with Emily, simple felt safe. So, on a random Thursday night, Sarah asked me to grab her hoodie from her bedroom closet. She was in the kitchen cooking pasta, humming some Christmas song off beat. I remember smiling at how normal everything felt. Her closet was usually pretty organized, color-coded even. Honestly, I always joked that she could be a professional closet organizer. But that day, the bottom shelf on the left side was messy, stuffed, like something was shoved there last minute. I crouched down, pushed aside a stack of scarves, and something wrapped in deep red paper slid forward. I froze, because I knew that wrapping paper. I knew it too well. It was the exact same pattern Emily had used for every St. Nicholas Day gift. For the last 3 years we were together. Little gold stars, faint evergreen branches, and a ribbon tied in this weird sideways knot she learned from some TikTok tutorial. My stomach dropped. I picked it up. It was heavy. And taped to the top was a tag. In the same handwriting that I used to find taped to my car, slipped into my coat, left under my pillow, Ferran, my initial. I swear my blood turned cold instantly. My hands actually shook. For a moment I told myself it was just a coincidence, that maybe this wrapping paper was common. Maybe the handwriting wasn't hers. Maybe I was hallucinating because the kitchen smelled like Emily's favorite pasta sauce, and the holidays were messing with my head. But it wasn't a coincidence. On the back of the tag, barely visible under the gold felt pen, was a tiny doodle of a snowman. Emily drew a snowman on everything: grocery lists, sticky notes, receipts she handed me. The snowman was her personal signature. I put the box down as if it was going to explode. I suddenly remembered something I wish I had connected sooner. 2 weeks earlier, Sarah had asked me casually, "Hey, what kind of things do people typically do for St. Nicholas Day?" We didn't celebrate it in my house. At the time, I just explained it briefly. She nodded, changed the topic. I didn't think much of it, but now it felt like a trapdoor had opened beneath me. Why would Sarah have a gift from my ex? Why would she hide it? Why was it addressed to me? The voices in my head started listing possibilities I didn't want to hear. Maybe they knew each other. Maybe they met. Maybe this entire relationship was built on something I didn't understand. Something someone else orchestrated. Right then, Sarah called from the kitchen, "Babe, did you find the hoodie?" I nearly dropped the gift. I shoved it back into the closet, badly, clumsily, and grabbed the hoodie off a hanger. When I walked out, she smiled at me like nothing was wrong, like my world hadn't just cracked open, but I couldn't shake it. I couldn't pretend everything was normal, not when I knew that red paper, not when I knew that handwriting, not when I knew that snowman. And definitely not when St. Nicholas Day was only 12 days away. I tried to act normal for the rest of the night, but I kept replaying what I'd seen over and over again. The gift, the signature snowman, the tag with my initial. I heard Sarah talking about overcooking the pasta and how she should have checked the timer, but her voice felt far away, like I was underwater. She noticed I was quiet. "You okay?" she asked, handing me a bowl. "Yeah, just tired," I lied. She tilted her head slightly, studying me longer than usual. Sarah wasn't oblivious, far from it. She was ridiculously observant, the kind of person who'd notice if you changed your phone case or got a new keychain. So she definitely picked up on my weird mood. But she didn't push. She just nodded and kept eating. The entire time, I couldn't stop thinking, why would she have something from Emily? And not just something, a gift for me, placed in her closet, hidden in a corner. I barely touched my food. That night, lying next to her, I kept staring at the ceiling. She fell asleep pretty fast, breathing softly, but I couldn't even close my eyes. My pulse wouldn't slow down. Every scenario that ran through my mind was worse than the previous one. Did Emily contact her? Did Sarah reach out to her? Did Emily give it to her before we broke up? Was this all some twisted coincidence? None of it made sense. And the worst part? Our breakup wasn't clean, not even close. Emily didn't cheat, but she lied. She kept things from me. She'd show up randomly at my work after we split. She'd text me at 2 a.m. She'd tell friends that we were taking a break, not broken up. She wasn't dangerous, but she didn't know how to let go gracefully. Finding something of hers, something intended for me, in my new girlfriend's closet felt like waking up in a house where all the furniture had been rearranged. Familiar things were suddenly wrong. The next morning, I told myself I'd go back into the closet while Sarah was showering, just to double-check that I wasn't imagining things. Maybe the tag didn't actually have my initial. Maybe the wrapping wasn't the same. Maybe the snowman was just, I don't know, a coincidence. I waited until I heard the water running. I got up quietly, heart pounding. I opened her closet. The gift was gone. Not moved, not shifted, not covered. Gone. Like it had never existed at all. My chest tightened. I checked the bottom shelf again, then the one above it, then the entire closet. Nothing. I even looked under her bed, which made me feel insane, but I didn't care. It wasn't there. I heard the shower turn off and panic shot through me. I scrambled back into bed and pretended to scroll my phone. Sarah walked out a minute later, wrapped in a towel, humming again. She grabbed clothes from the dresser, kissed me on the forehead, and said, "Morning." I tried to smile, but my face felt stiff. That entire day at work, I kept zoning out. I kept imagining that gift disappearing. Maybe she found it when she noticed I'd moved things around. Maybe she panicked. Maybe she hid it somewhere else. Or, and this thought hit me like a punch, maybe she moved it because she realized I wasn't supposed to find it yet. By the time I got home that evening, I'd thought myself into a state of paranoia. Sarah was in the living room watching a Christmas baking show and eating pretzels. She looked up at me with that same warm, comfortable smile she always had. It made everything worse. "Hey," she said, "how was work?" I swallowed. I had two options. Ask her directly. Pretend everything was normal until I figured out the truth on my own. Confronting her felt dangerous, not because she'd hurt me, but because if she lied, if I saw her lie, I don't know what it would do to me. I wasn't ready for that. So I said, work was fine, but inside, something cracked. Later that night, when she thought I was asleep, I felt her slip out of bed quietly. I heard the closet door open, soft rustling. Then silence. I stayed frozen, eyes closed, breathing slow. Something was happening, something she didn't want me to see. And for the first time since we started dating, I didn't feel safe next to her. I waited until I heard her return to bed. The mattress sank slightly beside me, and she let out a soft breath, like she was relieved about something. I didn't move, I didn't even twitch. I kept my breathing slow and steady, pretending to be deeply asleep. But inside, every nerve in my body was firing. She'd gone to the closet. She'd moved something. And she didn't want me to know. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I left the apartment earlier than usual under the excuse of needing gas and coffee. Once I was in my car parked down the street, I just sat there gripping the steering wheel, trying to convince myself that I wasn't losing my mind. It was too weird to be nothing, too personal, too specific, too... Emily. I decided that after work, I'd check the closet again when Sarah wasn't home. She had a late shift that night, meaning I'd have a 3-hour window alone in the apartment. I counted the hours until then. When she left at 4:30 p.m., she gave me a quick kiss and said she'd bring home takeout later. She was smiling, completely normal, completely casual, as if she wasn't hiding a wrapped gift addressed to me from a woman she had no business knowing. The second she walked out the door and her car pulled away, I felt this jolt of adrenaline. My hands were shaking as I locked the door behind her. I went straight to her closet and opened it. It looked the same as always. Organized, clean, neat. But the bottom shelf, it wasn't messy anymore. The scarves were stacked neatly. No gaps, no signs anything had ever been there. I checked anyway. Nothing. I checked the top shelves. Nothing. I checked behind the dresser, behind her shoes, under the nightstand, inside the laundry basket, behind the mirror, even inside her suitcase. Nothing. The gift was gone, or hidden somewhere else entirely. At this point, I wasn't scared. I was angry, confused, frustrated beyond belief, and still trying to find a rational explanation. I was about to give up when I spotted something on the floor of the closet, right near the back corner. A small piece of red paper. My heart jumped. I picked it up slowly. It was the same wrapping paper, the same gold stars. Torn. A tiny scrap, about an inch long, like it had ripped off when someone hurriedly grabbed the box. So I wasn't imagining it. It had been there, and she had moved it. I sat down on the floor, elbows on my knees, trying to breathe, trying to think. That's when my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I frowned and opened it. "Stop looking for the gift!" I froze. Another message came in immediately. "You'll ruin everything." My mouth went dry. I reread the messages 5 times, trying to make sense of them. The number wasn't saved, but it had a local area code. My first instinct was Emily. It felt like her. Cryptic, dramatic, emotional. But then again, she never texted from unknown numbers. She always made sure I knew it was her. Could it be Sarah? Had she gotten a burner number just to text me? That felt insane. But so did everything else happening. I replied, "Who is this?" Delivered. No reply. I typed again, "Emily?" Still nothing. My phone remained silent for almost a full minute. I stood up, pacing in front of the closet, thumb hovering over the call button for the unknown number. Then another text came in. "Don't ask questions. Wait until St. Nicholas Day." I stared at the screen, heart pounding, throat tight. Wait? For what? A reveal? A confession? A breakdown? A trap? I typed one more message. "What is going on?" 3 dots appeared. The person was typing. Sarah frowned. Then they disappeared. "His shift ends at 6. He usually gets home around 6:30. Emily sounded absolutely sure of herself. "He's here. Right now." My heart nearly stopped. Sarah's footsteps moved toward the hallway. Toward me. I backed away from the door, panic shooting through me. I didn't know whether to hide, escape, confront them, or scream. I felt trapped in my own home. The footsteps got closer. Then Sarah's voice came through the door. Soft, calm, too calm. "Babe," she said, "you can come out. We need to talk." My entire body froze. Emily added from behind her, "And please don't run. That'll just make all of this harder." For the first time in my life, I genuinely thought I might pass out. I swallowed hard and slowly reached for the door handle with trembling fingers. Everything I thought I knew about both of them was about to be shattered. My hand stayed frozen on the door handle. Sarah and Emily stood just feet away, waiting. Too calm, too collected, like they'd rehearsed this moment. I opened the door slowly. Sarah was right in front of me, eyes soft, worried. Emily stood a little behind her, arms loosely folded, expression unreadable. I stepped out, keeping distance from both of them. Sarah spoke first. "Before you say anything, please just listen." Emily added, "This isn't what you think." I laughed, a short, sharp, bitter sound. "Oh, really? Because right now it looks like my girlfriend and my ex have been meeting behind my back, sneaking around my apartment and hiding a gift with my name on it in the closet." Emily winced. Sarah looked down at the floor. I continued, voice shaky but loud. "And I just heard you both whispering about me like I'm some kind of experiment." Silence. Sarah took a step toward me. I instinctively stepped back. Her face crumpled. "Please, just let us explain." I clenched my jaw. "Then start talking?" Emily sighed. "Okay, fine." She ran a hand through her hair. "This all started 3 months ago." 3 months. Sarah and I had been dating for 4. My stomach twisted. Emily continued, "We didn't meet by accident." Sarah closed her eyes, as if bracing for impact. I stared at her. "What does that mean?" Sarah whispered. "I met Emily before I met you." My heart dropped. Like physically, painfully dropped. Emily stepped in. I reached out to her. I stared at Emily. "Why? Why the hell would you do that?" Emily swallowed hard. "Because you wouldn't talk to me." My voice went cold. "We broke up I didn't owe you conversations. She nodded. I know, but I needed to make sure you were okay. You shut me out so fast after the breakup. You wouldn't respond. You changed your routines. You stopped talking to people we both knew. I was worried about you. I shook my head. So you stalked me? Emily winced again. Not stalked, just checked on you, without telling me. Yes, she admitted. Sarah stepped forward. And I met her because she came to my shop. She recognized me from your Instagram. She hesitated. She asked me to talk to you, to see how you were doing, to help you move on. I felt like the room tilted. Emily said softly, I wasn't trying to get back with you. I just didn't want you isolating yourself again. I stared at her. Again? Emily glanced at Sarah before saying carefully, Last winter, after your dad died. My breath caught hard. Emily continued, You shut down. You didn't talk to anyone. You stopped celebrating holidays. You stopped sleeping. I was terrified for you. I looked away. My throat burned. Sarah added gently, When she told me that, I just wanted to help. I know what losing a parent feels like. I felt blindsided, violated, confused. But there was more. I could see it in their faces. They were only halfway through the truth. I forced myself to speak. Fine, whatever. But that still doesn't explain the gift, the texts, the secrecy, all of this insane, creepy setup. Emily took a deep breath. The gift wasn't a romantic gesture, Sarah nodded. It wasn't meant to freak you out. Emily reached into her bag. My heart jumped. She pulled out a small wooden box wrapped in the same red paper with gold stars, the same sideways ribbon knot. My initials on the tag. My stomach twisted again. She held it gently, almost reverently. Emily said quietly, This was for you last year, for St. Nicholas Day, before we broke up. I never got the chance to give it to you. I felt frozen, she continued, voice shaking slightly now. It was supposed to help you heal, not reopen wounds. I swallowed hard. What's inside? Emily exchanged a look with Sarah. Sarah nodded. Emily stepped closer and held out the gift. I'll tell you, she said, but first you need to understand something. Her voice turned calm, completely steady. The reason Sarah hid it, the reason I texted you, the reason we waited, is because what's inside this box will change how you see everything. I stared at the gift in her hands. She whispered, It's about your dad. The world stopped. I stared at Emily, at the box in her hands, at the familiar wrapping paper that suddenly felt radioactive. My dad? I said quietly. My voice didn't sound like mine. Emily nodded. Yeah. Sarah stepped closer, slowly, like I was a frightened animal and she didn't want to spook me. You don't have to open it right now, she said gently. We can talk first. But something inside me snapped. No, I said. I'm opening it. I grabbed the box from Emily's hands before she could react. My fingertips trembled as I untied the sideways ribbon, tore through the star-patterned paper, and lifted the wooden lid. Inside was a stack of letters. Dozens of them. Some were yellowed slightly at the edges, some newer, all addressed to me, all written in my dad's handwriting. My breath hitched, my vision blurred. What is this? I whispered. Emily spoke carefully. Your dad wrote you letters every St. Nicholas Day. Your mom kept them for when you were older. I blinked, unable to process. My mom? She never told me. Sarah's voice softened. She didn't, but your aunt did. I looked at both of them, completely lost. My aunt? What does she have to do with this? Emily took a deep breath. After your dad passed, your aunt reached out to me. She said your mom struggled with the grief and the letters. They became too painful for her to bring up. I swallowed hard. So, how did you end up with them? Emily hesitated. Your aunt gave them to me last year. She knew we were serious. She said you needed them, but she didn't know how to bring it up herself without reopening old wounds. My hands shook around the wooden box. Sarah stepped in. And then you and Emily broke up, and she didn't know what to do with the letters. She didn't want to text you out of nowhere and dump this on you. She felt guilty keeping them, but she was afraid to give them to you directly. Emily added quietly, I didn't want you to think I was using them to manipulate you. I swallowed, hard. Everything started clicking into place. The secrecy, the anxiety, the urgency, the gift. St. Nicholas Day. My dad used to leave little surprises in my shoes every December 6th. Not gifts, just small things. A note, a joke, a piece of candy he claimed he got from St. Nick himself. I opened the first letter. His handwriting hit me like a truck. If you're reading this, you're older now. I hope you still love December as much as you do today. The words blurred with tears I didn't even feel falling. Emily and Sarah stood silently, giving me space. The second letter, the third. Each one filled with warmth, advice, memories, stupid jokes, and encouragement he'd never gotten the chance to give me in person. By the fifth letter, I had to sit down. I looked up at them, two women I loved in very different ways, both standing there with guilt and worry written all over their faces. Finally, I asked, voice cracking, "Why didn't you just tell me? Why go through all of this? Why make it a secret?" Sarah knelt down beside me. "Because you were hurting, and we were scared that if we did it wrong, it would break you even more." Emily nodded. "We wanted to give it to you in a way that made sense. On the day your dad would have given you something, on a holiday that mattered to him. We didn't want it to feel random or cruel." "And the texts?" I asked shakily. Emily grimaced. "Okay, yeah. That part was stupid. I panicked when I realized you found the gift early. I wanted to keep you from tearing everything open before we could explain." I wiped my face with my sleeve. The weight of the letters felt like 1,000 pounds. I stared at Sarah, then at Emily, then down at the box again. For the first time in years, I didn't feel numb. I felt everything, all at once. Sarah whispered, "We never meant to hurt you. We were trying to protect you." Emily added softly, "In the only way we knew how." I exhaled shakily, then, slowly, painfully, I nodded. I get it," I said. My voice was raw, unsteady. "But next time," I added, looking at both of them, "just tell me the damn truth." Sarah let out a breath she'd clearly been holding. Emily's shoulders slumped with relief. And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, I didn't feel angry, just exhausted, overwhelmed, and strangely grateful. I closed the lid of the box gently. St. Nicholas Day was tomorrow, and for the first time since my dad died, I was looking forward to it.